Started out using all the proper tools, hit it with some penetrating lube, have a O2 sensor socket, and just couldn't get it to move with that. So then I cut down the sensor and cut off the wire since it's bad anyways, and was able to fit a full 6-sided deep socket on it and a breaker bar. And when that torque was applied, it started to move, but then it was actually just rounding off. And you can tell because if something's that corroded, when it first starts to move, you should hear and feel like a distinctive, like a crack, like the corrosion getting broken free. If it just starts to move but still feels tight and it's just like a really tight screw, then you know you're actually rounding off and you need to stop. So we're going to move on to another tactic here. This oxygen sensor has been on here for like 40 years and there's a lot of corrosion and it will not budge. Depending on the angles you need to get out with the tools on your O2 sensor, you might have to remove this heat shield first. It's held on from underneath, right around where the oxygen sensor is. Just letting you know that the hex nuts holding these on are going to be a 12 millimeter in the center, and then the two ones on the ends are 10 millimeter. The most difficult part of this job is finally complete. The magic combination in the end was, number one, removing the heat shield that was around the oxygen sensor in that vicinity to give me some more room to work. 7/8 inch deep socket right here with a 24-inch breaker bar on it. You can see the old O2 sensor and how corroded this is. So the key lube penetration compound was this CRC Freeze-Off. It worked better than the PB Blaster. It super cools this core and allows the penetrant to seep in better. It's definitely easier than using a torch. It seems like it's more efficient to try to shrink the small piece on the inside than try to heat the entire bung and the entire manifold on the outside to expand that, and it just feels safer also. And then using some of this valve grinding compound, and I coat the inside of the socket with that, and that helped to keep the socket from slipping off of the part of this hex nut that we could grab. So we finally have this out, and putting the new one back in is a piece of cake now. The new O2 sensor is in place. It's screwed in just by hand with some, also put some anti-seize on the threading, and this is where you're going to need a O2 sensor socket, which has a slot because that's going to go around the wire, and then you can fit this here and then put your ratchet attachment here and tighten it down the rest of the way. Once you've tightened down your sensor, you're going to just reconnect these spade connection right here, pull this little piece of rubber over to cover and protect that, reinstall your heat shield assuming you had taken that off, which covers this area down here, and then you are done.